Good day everyone. Last video we have seen what is e-commerce. Basically it's buying and selling of goods or services using the internet. Then we also saw features of e-commerce, types of e-commerce models. This part is important. Usually questions are asked on this particular topic regarding e-commerce models: business to consumer, business to business, consumer to consumer, consumer to business. So all these models becomes more clear when you know about the example. Like we are very much used to Flipkart, Amazon, that is business to consumer. As customer directly places order for a particular item through a website, and the business organization supplies that item to that customer. So here website, which are it's like providing you the service of supplying the products, wherein you need to enter your information and all, and that information is passed on to the business organization who finally supplies that product. So business to consumer is very common. It's being used by all of us in day-to-day life. Business to business, this is mostly between manufacturer and the wholesaler. Usually products are manufactured but they are not directly consumed by the end user. So there are middle men as such, or you can call them as a wholesaler, who buys the products in a bulk, and finally from them the customer will consume that product. So whenever there is a business transactions, whenever there is a business happening between two organizations, two businesses, it is called as business to business, like Alibaba.com, India Mart. These are the famous examples. Consumer to consumer is again quite common. We have all heard about OLX, Quicker, eBay. These are the website which allows one customer to advertise or to put the post about their old products, used products, which can be sold with a less rate, and the other customer can directly get that product from the customer by knowing about that product through the website, and such websites are all these Quicker, OLX and all. Consumer to business is like there is a customer who's providing some services and they tell about these services or the products through website. So consumer is involved here in propagating his own his or her own services or goods through website, and the business may hire the services of that particular consumer or customer. Like what example I gave you was Photolia, Google AdSense, where business can hire the services of a particular consumer. So that is consumer to business. So that was what we saw in the last video. Coming to the next model, though there are main 4 models, there are also some other e-commerce models which are also emerged, that is business to government. So all this time we saw business and the consumer. Now the new entity added here is government. It is a variant of B2B model only, but here instead of another business organization, government is involved here. Such websites are used by government to trade and exchange information with various business organizations. Such websites are accredited by the government and provide a medium to business to submit application forms to the government. Suppose some business wants some services from the government, they can use this website and they can approach the government through this particular websites. So that is called business to government. Government to business. A government uses B2G model website to approach business organization. This is just reverse of what I told you earlier. Here this website support auctions, tenders and application submission functionalities. I'll give you an example. If there is say some civil work to be done in some government building, So usually you must have seen on the newspaper and all, there are tenders which are published, so that any contractors can fill up the tender and submit. So all that which happens on the newspaper, it actually happens on the website, where e-tenders are published on the website, and the interested business organization can approach, okay, by filling those tenders or submitting those tenders and all. So this is one example about government to business e-commerce model. Next, government to citizen. This is most of us have used actually. What is government to citizen? This website is to approach citizen in general. Such website supports auctions of vehicles, machinery, or any other material. Such website also provides services like registration for birth, marriage, or death certificate. You know, most of the government offices, organization, they are limited by the staff, and the work is not done in time, and the citizens they need to stand in a queue for simple work to be done. So government has come up with many such websites where people can directly get their things done online. So such websites are meant to give services to the citizen. So the main objectives of this website are to reduce average time for fulfilling people requests for various government services. So this is called government to citizen. Now what comes next is about payment system. As we know, e-commerce, the major feature of e-commerce is online payment. You need not pay in cash as such. Online payment is one of the important feature. So here what is mentioned is about electronic payments. Examples: credit card, debit card, smart card, e-money, electronic fund transfer. You have already come across all these terms, but let's understand it in more detail. Credit card. Payment using credit card is one of the most common mode of electronic payment. Credit card is small plastic card with a unique number attached with an account. It has also a magnetic strip embedded in it, which is used to read credit card via card readers. When a customer purchases a product via credit card issuer bank pays on behalf of the customer, and customer has a certain time period after which he or she can pay the credit card bill. It is usually credit card monthly payment cycle. See, credit card, it's like there are some businessmen who uses credit card wherein they can purchase product, or they can hire some services by using credit card, which means it's like they are even if they don't have money in the bank gives them as though it's like a short term loan, and at the end of month the credit card holder can pay that amount to the bank, of course with some interest they need to pay. So credit card, in a sense, even if you have less money or no money in the bank, they can use this card to buy anything online, okay, and that money can be paid at the end of month. Usually it is a monthly payment cycle. So what all is involved in credit card is the one who is having the card, that is card holder, the merchant, seller of product who can accept this credit card, card issuer bank, card holders bank, acquirer bank, and card brand, for example Visa, MasterCard or RuPay. Next, debit card. How debit card is different from credit card? For debit card you need to have money in the bank. You cannot use debit card without having that sufficient balance in the bank. It's like how we issue a check to any party. So we issue a check only when there is a sufficient balance in the bank. Similarly, we can use debit card for online purchases and all. So the amount is directly deducted from your bank account money. So debit cards are more accepted by the most of the e-commerce vendors, or even if you go to the shop or mall, debit cards are used very often. So here there is no restriction on amount being in bank account, means you know how much you are spending as such, because you cannot use money without being there in the bank as such. Next is smart card. Smart card is similar to credit card or debit card, but here it has a small microprocessor chip embedded in it. It has the capacity to store customers' work related or personal information. Like suppose a person is working for some big company, all the information about, say, person's workplace, address, okay, other details like maybe Aadhaar card number, all the important information about the person is stored on the smart card. And at the same time you can also have information stored about the money. In a sense, it is also used to store money, which is reduced as per the usage, and they are more secure as they store information in encrypted format. Encrypted meaning in a coded format, and they are less expensive. Example of smart card are SIM card, then healthcare card, and all such cards. E-money. E-money is a term used in general for all the transactions where payment is done over the network and the amount gets transferred from one financial body to another financial money without any involvement of a middleman. I can give example of, say, Google Pay and all that. So that is like e-money. You only need to have proper settings done about feeding the information about your bank account and all, and it's only once. So after that you can transfer the money over the network. Also online payments done via credit card, debit card, smart card, they are all example of e-money transactions. Electronic fund transfer. It's a popular electronic payment method to transfer money from one bank account to another bank account. Say for example, net banking, that is also electronic fund transfer. So you need to transfer money from your bank account to your say friend's bank account. So that is called as electronic fund transfer. The last part about e-commerce is about security system. You know, when it comes to money transaction, monetary transaction, what is very important is a security. Security is an essential part of any transaction that takes place over the internet. Customer will lose his or her faith in e-business if its security is compromised. Suppose you are paying online, and if you have that fear that your money may not be paid properly, or your data, which is important confidential data about your debit card, credit card, may be misused by someone. So all that is covered under the security system. And what is usually expected from any e-payment or the online transactions, what are the requirements? First of all, it has to be confidential. Whatever data that you enter in e-commerce website, it need to be kept confidential. So information should not be accessible to unauthorized person. It should not be intercepted during transmission. So when your data is transmitted, it should not be hacked by somebody and misused as such. So these are all requirements so that there is a proper security. Your e-payments are safe. Next is integrity. Information should not be altered during its transmission over the network. Availability. Information should be available wherever and whenever requirement within time limit specified. Suppose I am doing some online payment, I am entering the information about card number, all that. So it has to reach in time. It should be available wherever and whenever the requirement arises. Authenticity. There should be a mechanism to authenticate user before giving him or her access to required information. Suppose I am doing some online payment to some other body, so there has to be authentication. One who is paying and one who is receiving money, they should be authorized person. Non-repudiability, it's a protection against denial of order or denial of payment. Once a sender sends a message, the sender should not be able to deny sending the message. Similarly, the recipient of message should not be able to deny receipt. In a sense, if I make some payment, I cannot say no, I have not paid you, or that money transferred has to be cancelled or something like that. So once the payment is done or once the payment is received, you cannot deny as such. Encryption, this is again an important part. Information should be encrypted and decrypted only by authorized user. You must have heard or read about end-to-end encryption in WhatsApp. What it means, whatever data that you are passing, whatever messages that you are passing through WhatsApp, they are coded. When it goes from you, it is in the coded form, and when it is received by the receiver, it gets decoded. So that there is no data hacked or altered when it is in the transmission as such. So that is called encryption. So whenever data is transmitted over a medium, it is in the encrypted form, so that no hacker can misuse your data or they can alter your data. Auditability, data should be recorded in such a way that it can be audited for integrity requirements. Encryption, this is again, it's repeated, it's a very effective and practical way to safeguard the data being transmitted over the network. Sender of the information encrypts the data using a secret code. So all this mechanism is it's actually built in the website itself using some protocol. We'll come to that point later. So encryption it is not that we are doing it ourselves when we are using e-commerce website. So that is all built in within a website by using proper protocols. Digital signature ensures the authenticity of the information. It's a e-signature, authenticated through encryption and password. Like suppose I want to log in into my account, it's only me who knows the login and username, password. So that all becomes a part of a digital signature. So only when you enter your credentials, the receiver knows that it is you who are passing your confidential information. So you must always safeguard your credentials. Your username, password should not be revealed to the other person. That's why from time to time banks also they alert their customers saying, do not disclose your account number, do not disclose your IFSC code, bank account number, all that over the telephone or via some email, because bank never asks for such information like PIN number and all through email. So sometimes they are it is done so that somebody is intending for a cyber fraud and all. So you should be always active and alert about such messages. You cannot disclose your bank account information to a unknown person or to an unauthorized person. Security certificate, this is also one means of safeguarding your data. It's a unique digital ID used to verify identity of an individual website or user. Okay, now as I told you, whatever security systems are provided, they are all using some protocols. So following are the popular protocols used over the internet which ensures security of transactions made over the internet. First, secure socket layer, SSL. It is the most commonly used protocol and is widely used across the industry. Sometimes for exam they ask the full form of this SSL. So you should know what is SSL, secure socket layer. It meets following security requirements: authentication, encryption, integrity, non-reputability. Now these are the same terms what I just explained to you all. All this is taken care of by these protocols. What are protocols? They are rules, the standard rules for communicating. Sometimes on the website you must have seen HTTPS. So that S stands for secure. It is to be used for HTTP URLs with SSL. So you know that this protocol is involved in this hypertext transfer protocol. So whenever you see letter S, you know it is a Secure protocol. Most of the e-commerce websites or whichever websites which has online payment feature, they always use this protocol so that your data can be kept confidential. It is all these features are involved in it. Secure hypertext transfer protocol. This extends the HTTP internet protocol with public key encryption, authentication and digital signature over the internet. Secure HTTP supports multiple security mechanisms providing security to end users. So this security is just not one layer security. There are multiple level security which finally ensures that your data, what is being sent, is safe. It works by negotiating encryption scheme types used between client and server. Payment gateway. This is again a common term that you must have heard of, payment gateway. Now whenever any online payment is done, there is one mediator called payment gateway. Suppose if I purchase something online and use debit card, so my debit card may be of one bank and the receiver's bank may be a different bank. So there has to be one such mediator which acts as a payment. It's called as a payment gateway. It's a tunnel that connects your bank account to the platform where you need to transfer your money. PG, Innocent Payment Gateway, is a software that authorizes you to conduct an online transaction through different payment modes like net banking, credit card, debit card, UPI, or the many online wallets that are available these days. So payment gateway it plays a very important role, a major role whenever online payments are done. It's a role of a third party that securely transfers your money from the bank account to the merchant's payment portal. So this is the end of the e-commerce topic, wherein we have learnt about what is e-commerce, types of e-commerce models, then what are the different online payments and all that. So exam point of view, mostly you must know the types of e-commerce models, all that B2B, B2C and all that. Also these are the different terms like security protocols, then about what is payment gateway you must know. So these are the different topics which you have to learn about e-commerce. I've only covered important topics as such, so you need to go through all this thoroughly to understand the concept. I will also pass on the notes of e-commerce so that whatever has been explained to you all will be more clear. Also you can refer to the question bank of Bharat Skills. What are the questions asked on this e-commerce? Okay, thank you.